Hey, Hamster. You see the new episode request we got? The one about licensed games? Yeah, but they didn't even request a specific one, so I guess we're just gonna have to review every one we've ever played. What? Come on, you made me play all 3 Ninja Gaiden games last time. How does that even compare? Everybody's got their dark history of stupid, weird licensed games they've played and probably regretted. So let's lay it all out and review every single licensed game we've ever played in one big, horrendous video. But I had to have played dozens of fine. Let's just narrow it down to the 50 weirdest games I've ever played, going all the way back to my childhood. I can't believe we're doing this. And without further ado, and appearing in whatever sporadic order they happen to be on my video game resume, let's begin. The only NES licensed game I've played was this odd Capcom platformer, but don't actually have any nostalgia for DuckTales, so don't hate me when I say it's just a 3 for me. DuckTales for NES is largely responsible for inspiring the pogo attacking and treasure collecting in Shovel Knight. For being so inspirational ahead of its time, I gotta at least say it deserves a 5. Okay, yes, I know this game was made by world-renowned garbage factory LJN, but I promise it's actually pretty cool. It's a tense horror game that fits well in the world of Alien. Well, except for the fact that xenomorphs go down really easily. It's a 5, I suppose. So yeah, it's good because it's not as bad as the rest of the LJN games? Yeah, I ain't swallowing that pill. 4. Yeah, so Kim insisted I play this and experience what she did when she was younger, and ignoring the obvious Barbie theme, this game is ridiculously hard. It's nothing but a series of unfair auto-scrolling segments where any and everything in the world is out to kill you, and their hitboxes are astronomical. Then, if you somehow manage to survive, you gotta suffer through multiple egregiously mind-numbing dress-up memory games. The game sucked, but gets a 2 at least for being really funny for how much it sucked. No, pure misogynistic misery. 1. So Kim picked out this Sailor Moon game for us to try, and unfortunately, it's just a crappy side-scrolling beat-em-up with the silliest-looking attacks, awful range, and lousy hitboxes you can imagine. Just imagine Streets of Rage, but with magical girls getting swarmed by uncomfortably dressed supermodel supervillains. 3. This game's a mess. Couldn't get far enough to find it any better than deserving a 2. Great Gundam sprite art in a 2D fighter. Too bad I suck at these kind of games. 4 for me. Yep, I suck at these, but some people really love this one. I'll give it a 5. Yeah, this is a super popular side-scroller beat-em-up and all, but I was never really a fan of the Ninja Turtles growing up, so the lack of nostalgia really hampers my enjoyment of the game. It'll take a tubular 2 with a slice of pizza, please. This is like the pinnacle of Turtles gaming, so it'd be wrong to not give this game a bodacious 6, brother. Kim had to remind me that I even played this old Genesis platformer a year or so ago at her request. I guess it's got really charming sprite work and animation, but I still, for the life of me, do not remember playing it, so that should tell you how memorable it was. 3. Licensed games aren't inherently bad or anything. I promise we will get to some of the heavy hitters later, but a lot of these older ones were just made en masse by corporations trying to cash in on the video game craze and milk their IPs dry regardless of the quality that they would put out. And parents just didn't know any better. Who would buy that weird blue hedgehog game for Genesis when there's Mickey Mouse? Oh, right, the game. 4, I guess. Why is Wolverine so easy to kill in video games? He chews through his mutant gauge just by keeping his claws out. The dude can regenerate like Deadpool in the comics, but as soon as he's in a video game, he goes down like Barbie trying to cross the street. Oh yeah, and there's other characters too. 4, I think. No, I was just talking about the playable characters, not the... There's better X-Men games out there, even though this one ironically takes the straightforward self-title for itself. X-Men. 3. Hey, look, a popular game! And don't hate me when I say that I absolutely suck at first-person games in general, but make me use the N64 controller on top of that and I automatically concede. 2. Please forgive me. I just cannot enjoy this one. Also, I never really cared much for James Bond. Yes, this game's a big deal. It's a lot of people's first ever first-person shooter, being accessible on home consoles. It's also as big as Doom or Half-Life in that regard, so it feels wrong not to give 007 anything less than the 7 he deserves. Oh boy, this game's horrible. It's so bad I actually felt like it might deserve a full-blown episode giving into meticulous detail of describing this abomination. But anymore just feels like I'm beating a dead horse. Heck, beating a live horse seems less horrible than playing this filth, because this horse in particular made you fly through rings for hours on end, gave you the worst flight controls imaginable, and laughed at you every single time you inevitably failed. 1. I actually reviewed this abomination back on Ocarina Hero, but for some masochistic reason, I actually went back and nearly beat the game, getting all the way to the Kryptonite Insta-Death Office level. Since this game's not worth any more of my time than it's already stolen, how about I just remaster that old crappy episode, give it a 1, and we all just move on with our lives. So get this, I actually played this game before I ever watched the movie because my parents messed up and bought this thinking this was the movie. So yeah, it kind of completely ruined the film, but hey, the dash levels were actually pretty amazing. Easily the best part of the game. I still to this day wish we got a 3D Sonic game inspired by those dash levels, all about maintaining momentum and zooming through crazy crowded environments. I'd give it an incredibly average 5. I remember this looking and playing really well, but holy crap, it didn't age well. And God, all the non-stop unfunny quips really grate on you. It's gotta be a 4 from me. I beat this game at least twice on the GameCube and even dabbled in a bit of the rehydrated version. I'd still say it's a great 3D platformer with tons of references to the 90s show and the memes and all, but to me it's everything funny about old SpongeBob crushed down into a tiny little GameCube potato chip disc, and it deserves a solid 6 out of 10. Even though rehydrated feels a little stale for some reason. Heck, you can even watch me play some on the channel, shameless plug. It's no Banjo-Kazooie, but I'm still gonna give the Sponge an average 5. Okay, this was my brother's game, and I think I played it more than he did. Imagine a GameCube Mario Odyssey, but with Looney Tunes characters and logic, where you play as Taz and destroy absolutely everything in your way to stop Yosemite Sam from capturing you and save your girlfriend thing? Anyway, the good memories from this oddball game have me scoring this varmint with another 6 out of 10. Yep, this game's got some jank, platforming is pretty wonky, cutscenes are poorly animated, and many areas feel unfairly rigged against you. I'm settling with a 3. I remember many long nights with a grade school friend of mine staying up way too late playing X-Men Legends. The fact that his parents let me keep coming back to his house countlessly over sleepless nights where I shouted and hollered all sorts of obnoxious teenage raillery and farm animal noises is a testament to their unmatchable tolerance. Oh yeah, the game. Yeah, I just kind of spammed Storm Tornadoes when I was in the corner and wanted to win, and just played as Iceman when I wanted to be a naked guy. 5, I guess. I, however, have nothing to say. 3. One of the easier movies to translate into a game for obvious reasons, but I genuinely don't remember much other than the free-roaming Radiator Springs areas, and intentionally utilizing a quick spin move, flipping you in reverse in order to send passers-by absolutely sailing! And with a well-timed spin and a steep ramp, you could freaking launch those sentient jalopies into the stratosphere! It's so satisfying and unintentionally the best part of the game. 6 out of 10. It's basic racing, but your vehicle won't shut up. Pleasantly surprised by the all-time low music, though. Other than that, it's just a 3. Nothing special. But my brother, inspired by my Ocarina Hero game reviews of the time, actually made a video on this game and caught the car launching glitch on camera. So thanks for the clip, Taylor. Alright, for real now. Am I the only one who liked cubics? Though I 100% admit the only appeal of the show was being fully animated in 3D. I do. I know. I had a bunch of the toys, like this million-piece Recall lawsuit in a box, so of course I tried the game, which was your basic top-down racer for Game Boy Color, but still enjoyable enough for a 5, I'd say. Instead of unlocking courses and stuff by winning races, you had to ignore the race entirely and look all over the map, driving into people's backyards and stuff to collect a random key, and then somehow finish the race in first. Also, top-down races kinda suck when you don't know where all the turns and traps are. I'm settling with another 3. I hate this game! Good thing this platformer crapfest didn't time you because it's got the most abysmal jump controls and level design imaginable. I spent hours just trying to figure out why sometimes when I jumped a dozen times trying to reach the next leaf or whatever, I'd fall short. But if I pressed really hard, I'd make it sometimes. I swear to God, this game's a nightmare! The stupid cannonball level alone made me want to piss on an anthill and light it on fire! 1. You think I got something nicer to say? 1. Squish 'em. Okay, the vast majority of these games were unrequited gifts, but this one I actually sought out myself. Not because of the gameplay or anything, I just wanted to play something Garfield on my GBA, because I ran out of Flash games on their website. What? This game actually sucks. Probably a 2 at best. No man, it's a 1. Look this trash up yourself if you don't believe me. But those cheap Flash games actually looked, sounded, and even played better than this travesty. It's just stock sound effects, terrible animation if you can even call it that, and silent Microsoft Paint slideshow screenshots for your cutscenes. Fitting for a game about a lazy slob. I never really liked Harry Potter, even before J.K. Rowling came out as an openly transphobic disgrace of a human being. I guess my parents just kept buying the books, movies, and even the games to try and encourage me to eventually read this entire box set of Little House on the Prairie novels that they bought, which is, to this day, still something I don't think I could ever stomach even if you paid me. Oh right, yeah, the game. It sucked. Boring as hell. 1. Just imagine running around and interacting with horribly drawn profile artwork and reading dialogue over and over again for hours. That's the whole game. It's just like reading the books, but even crappier. 1 is right. Okay, if you told me this game was just a modded Mario Kart Super Circuit, I'd believe you. Even the items were all functionally the same thing, just with new graphics. To be fair though, they did get some 3D courses working pretty well in the GBA, which I've only ever seen done decently well in Banjo Pilot. So yeah, it's actually pretty fun, all things considered. I'd call it a solid 5. I'd call it a fun diversion after 100%ing Super Circuit, but for some reason I 100%ed this one as well. Kinda lame to have only one unlockable character, but hey, I wasn't expecting it to be Plankton. I'd give it a 4 for being an inferior clone. This was my sister's game, and she'd repeatedly get stuck and ask me for help in the game, like every 10 minutes. In the end, I basically played the entire thing for her, and she just flew around the hub world every once in a while. So yeah, I 100%ed a Powerpuff Girls game. And it wasn't too bad, honestly. 4. It was actually kind of unique, flying around the city, finding all sorts of hidden stuff, and doing side missions while swapping between the 3 mutant runts for health and powers. Also, I'm man enough to say I enjoyed myself some Powerpuff Girls, but not more than a 3. Yep, another Super Circuit clone, and this one's undoubtedly the worst of the knockoffs. It genuinely plays horribly, with awful clunky controls, hazards, obnoxious repetitive sound effects, and generally ugly graphics all around. But hey, it had Shrek, so at least it's a 3 from me. I also 100%ed it for no other reason than Super Circuit was so freaking good, even its crappy clones were decent. This GBA game soundtrack is 5 freaking tracks long, and what's worse is if you play it, you'd probably be asking yourself, where's the other 4? So yeah, it's an abysmal clone at best. 2. Weirdly enough, even though there were an uncomfortable amount of Shrek games back then, he wasn't the internet meme sensation yet, so this was just a weird, janky 3D fighter with dozens of broken items and infinite combos, but not in the fun way. I'd call it a 4 for being quirky and kinda unique for the DS, unlike most licensed games. This is another series I never expressed interest in, but my parents bought for me without asking what I'd actually like to play. I'd like to think I had better taste than this, but I sought out Garfield's Search for Pookie, so you be the judge. This game's a 3 on a good day. Hey, this time my parents knew I liked comics, so they actually tried this time. Too bad they didn't know I didn't give a damn about Marvel and DC's sorry attempts at quality storytelling. But still, Scribblenauts is an awesome game, and one deserving of an entire episode in its own right, but this DC exclusive version is just not interesting if you don't care for their IPs. I bounced off this hard, landing on a 2. I remember trying to create Watchmen and other Vertigo properties, considering it's all owned by DC, but to no avail. The only one that worked was when I got the wrong kind of Sandman. This one's a 3 from me. It's still functionally a Scribblenauts game, just with a ton of extra filling of flavors that I don't particularly care for. Seriously, the only superhero comic worth your time is Invincible, and don't believe anyone who tells you otherwise. Hey, look, another 2D Gundam fighter I don't particularly remember playing. Hey, look, a 4! Okay, this is some darn good sprite art and music. Am I alone in thinking that fighting games should stay sprite-based? Man, they look so good like this. I'd call this one a solid 6 for the variety. I should probably mention that Kim's the Gundam fan, and every single one of these games made the list because she insisted I play them with her. Yeah, my wife was playing Gundam while I was occupying my time with the real Robo MVP Cubix. Man, how is anyone gonna respect the nonsense I say when this video is making me lose faith in my own poor judgment? 4. Yeah, I'm gonna be an immediate hypocrite and say that if you're gonna make a 3D fighter, you better make it like Soul Calibur and have the 3D control and destructible environments like this one. But I'm still a sprite whore. You get a 5. Also, the voice deliveries are atrocious if you were wondering. Okay, when I imagine a Gundam game, this is what I'm talking about. Flying, shooting, and slashing giant mechs in a giant mech of my own! Why are we getting modern games like this that don't come without enormous caveats? Maybe because the game's just okay, all things considered. It's a 5, I guess. Kim loves it, though.
Don't call me biased against Gundam just because I'm being honest here. Look, I even painted Green Gun Blastinator Man, piloted by Johnny Bravo. Hey, I know enough that this game is based off of a movie, adapted from an anime, based on real-world events in a galaxy far, far away. 5, I guess.
Who the hell is this guy? Actually, kind of looks like Heimdall from Xenogears. So this time, Kim handed me the Gundam game for entirely different reasons. She was terrible at it, considering it's suddenly a tactical strategy RPG where you play as and deploy a platoon of those Zaku mooks built out of paper mache. So I gave it a shot and was terrible at it as well. Couldn't give it over a 2 for sheer frustration.
Yeah, this ain't my jam, cup of tea, or any other edible analogy. Rating it, however, is a piece of cake. 1.
Basically Grand Theft Auto, but Simpsons themed. Something never really sat right with me watching Homer beat up random strangers in the street and run over kids in a playground with his car. I don't question it in GTA considering you're playing as a psychopath, but watching yellow cartoon people do it feels really wrong. I'd say it's a 3.
It's a silly enough game for PS2 where luckily the graphical style ages well with the hardware. It's full of dumb humor as to be expected, and that's obviously the highlight of the game. I'm settling with a 4.
Oh, hey! This game actually rules! It broke so many stereotypes of bad license games by being a blast to play, gorgeous to look at, and magnificent to listen to. It also helped that it was secretly a Metroidvania. But hey, it's a winning formula set in a madhouse full of supervillains. That's an 8 in my book.
This game was so surprisingly good, Rocksteady would spend the next decade and a half desperately trying to milk the ever-loving crap out of this accidental diamond in the rough, bleeding it dry just like how the Bat's abusive papa does with his own comics. Biff, bam, slam, it's a 7.
So, in some ways, the bigger open world map of Arkham City was better than Asylum, but just never really had that dreadful, creepy horror of being trapped on a manic island like before. Still a good time for fans of the first one, but it doesn't quite reach the same heights. Even though you can send goons sailing off dizzying heights with their chests full of knives, hey, if it doesn't hurt Batty's conscience, neither does this 7.
This is tough because it's exactly what fans wanted after Asylum, but it's not quite as fulfilling. It's got too much filler like those stupid Riddler trophy puzzles and not enough cinematic set pieces like last time. At least the voice cast is still on point. Oh, and if you're wondering, this is the last of their games to pass quality control, so take this 6 and a smile knowing that I decided to stop here.
Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme versus Full Boost? Yikes. And it doesn't help that it's got the worst cover I've ever seen in my life. I got this game for Kim considering it was the closest to the gameplay she wanted, but on the next-gen hardware. Unfortunately, it was never translated. So I'm gonna rate this bad boy in kanji, because gosh darn it, I got no damn idea what the heck is going on anymore.
I assure you, we tried for quite a while trying to follow the guides to figure out how to play this game. Man, I feel for the poor Western Gundam community. This game looks incredible, but the language barrier is keeping it at arm's length. Just like my score. Deal with it.
Mass reckless endangerment fell off in Simpsons, but not in Star Wars. I was very much an evil son of a gun, electrocuting random people before slicing them up with my glow stick. I'm giving Space Murder a decent 4 out of 10.
I wonder if everything made by LucasArts is technically qualifying as a licensed game. George Lucas is Mr. Star Wars, but honestly my mind goes to Monkey Island first when I hear the name. Or whatever. I guess Force Unleashed was an average 5.
Speaking of killing people, Telltale made an incredible spin-off game for the Walking Dead comics. This was the first game I played where your decisions had any real impact on the story, and man, those changes were substantial. Highly recommend giving this series a shot with an 8 out of 10.
Somehow my PS3 considered my first playthrough of the first season deserving of a platinum trophy. I guess it was so depressed by the ending it refused to make me play it again with alternate choices. Well, I'm gonna give this Zambi game a solid 8 as well.
We've established that I'm not much of a superhero guy, but wow, this game's incredible! I remember watching friends play Spider-Man 2 on GameCube, and this game's everything I thought was cool about that, but so much better! Swinging around the entirety of Manhattan is such a great rush, and it sure helped that the story was just as fun as the old spectacular Spider-Man cartoons. Spidey easily gets a 10 out of me. Yeah, swinging around is super fun and all, but the gameplay variety was what was really lacking. You take down groups of goons the exact same way every
every single time Arkham Asylum style, and it gets really repetitive after dozens of repetitive fights with the same generic nobodies on the same generic rooftops and intersections. Still pretty amazing work from Insomniac, snagging a 9 from me.
Remember those old Jurassic Park arcade booths? You'd sit inside a curtained-off Jeep that would drive along a rail shooter level with constant dinosaurs coming after you? It really freaked me out when I was little, both for the House of the Dead style scares, but also feeling bad for shooting dinosaurs. Hey, it wasn't their fault that humanity brought them back from extinction, forgetting that they were the apex predators. It's probably a 6 for a unique experience.
Hold on to your butts. I just think these games are meh. Compared to its competition, it's like a 4.
My friends needed another player in this old arcade, so I ended up being Nightcrawler, aka the last picked character, and proudly made it to the point where Magneto yells, "Welcome to die!" Welcome to die! Other than that, I don't really remember anything, giving it a 4 for politely welcoming me to die.
Never thought I'd have to rate all these throwaway titles I played as a kid. Compared to all the other arcades, I guess it was average, so 5? Are you satisfied? Man, are we there yet?
Alien traditionally has horrible games, but this one's actually fantastic. It's an outstanding stealth horror game, playing a canonical sequel to the film. However, I remember my friends and I dying a lot just because someone's phone rang or cat barfed or something and the alien heard us through the microphone and came and killed us. I'd give it a 7 for making my favorite movie a great game that can kill you if you so much as fart.
Play this on Steam or something without a mic for your own good. Then you can enjoy this surprising game adaptation with a strong 9 out of 10.
You all thought the ridiculous games were over, didn't you? Well, get this. I played this point-and-click adventure Finding Nemo game and was completely flabbergasted as a kid, hearing a different voice coming out of Bruce the Shark's mouth during the actual CG cutscene from the movie, when everyone else has their original voice actors. This anomaly perplexes me to this day. I'd say Finding Breakfast is a 3. It was something to do at best, and another bastardized film at worst.
Imagine playing Freddy Fish, but he's ruining one of your favorite Pixar movies at the same time. 1.
One of those horror movie adaptations where everyone kind of roleplays the victims and one's randomly the killer. The best moment I ever had with this game was when some guy was playing Jason would kick open the doors and blast All-Star from Smash Mouth through his microphone for everyone to hear. It was amazing. But the game was kind of jank. I'd call it a 5 at best.
A frustrating, mic-sharing, connection-dropping mess. Jason can go jump in the lake and look for his 3 that's sunk to the bottom.
Once again, I am not into Harry Potter. However, I was into card collecting, and this game had me covered in that regard. Also, it was fortunately an actual 3D game with puzzles and stuff to find all over. Decent enough for a 5 for me.
Flipendo! 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 God, this game's freaking repetitive as Harry Nutsack has to call out his magic every single time he uses it, which is constant, as you'll need to 3 or so quintillion flipendos to collect all the stupid pentagonal card things. I'm settling on a 2 because it's based on the second book. Yeah, I stopped caring.
I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger-licking good dating simulator, is exactly what you think it is from the ever-devolving KFC brand. It saddens me that that gruel is what foreigners think our food is like here in Southern Ohio and Kentucky. You won't find a single sane human being who lives here and will tell you that KFC deserved the international success and Old Spice level ads of their own depravity and shameless desperation. Anyway, the game's funny, but not worth playing. I'd take a number 4, please.
You can actually watch me play this glorified advertisement in a single streamed video shameless plug. So that way you don't have to do it all yourself just to see KFC make buffoons of themselves yet again. It really is amusing the first time, but sucks upon replay or reloading. It's a 2 at best.
Sorry, but even though the concept of a dinosaur-themed zoo tycoon sounds awesome, making it licensed by Jurassic Park just gives me the inclination to let them frequently break out and wreak havoc and murder everybody at the first possible moment I can. So I guess it's a 6.
Though personally, I'd invest my dino tycooning in Prehistoric Kingdom. People really love this game. Granted, the sequel kind of made it obsolete, I still think it deserves a ravenous 8.
A Symphony of the Night imitation that's actually pretty darn fun. I played almost all of it on my channel as well, shameless plug, but I kind of fell off at the last boss considering how ridiculously hard it was. Turned out I missed a few areas and helpful pickups to make the fight a heck of a lot more balanced, so I went back and finished it up offline. Still, it was at least a 6 for unique gameplay alone.
That unique gameplay was just Team Ladybug recycling their fire and ice mechanic they made in their mini Shin Megami Tensei Metroidvania project Synchronicity Prologue. And if you're not hip on the Lodos lingo, this story is gonna sail right over your head like it did mine. I'd give it a 4 in hindsight.
Yet another point-and-click adventure from yet another franchise I never really cared for. Hey, at least there was replay value in that the culprits would change around based on the difficulty chosen. 2 out of 10. I guess it's a plus that the original voice cast reprised their roles. We don't see that much anymore. Even still, I can't go much higher than a 2 either. Okay, so this one's actually interesting. It's an isometric mystery investigation where you pick one of the cast members and race against the CPU controlling the others to solve the mystery first by finding traps, clues, and Scooby snacks lying around this creepy theme park at night, with everything kind of randomized and goofily animated cutscenes for setting the traps to catch each possible culprit made this pretty enjoyable, but not above a 4 enjoyable. Yeah, well, considering my options at the time were to play Scooby-Doo games or keep reading my Encyclopedia Britannica, this seemed like the sensible option for a 7-year-old. Can you blame me? I'm giving the Scoob a 4 as well. Yep, another one. And it's basically the same as Jinx at the Sphinx. Point and click around to play cheap flash minigames to collect clues and watch more low-budget cutscenes. I'll give this one a 3 just because there's a dragon on the cover. 2, moving on. Yeah, so this is the last point-and-click adventure Scooby-Doo game that came in a 3-pack. It's no different from the first 2. No dragon on this cover, so it's a 2. 2! Now buzz off, you meddling kids! Oh my god, does anybody remember this? I spent so many hours scanning barcodes with this hokey peripheral thing in order to gather DNA or something for my 3D fighting dinosaurs on PC. It was really cool. It turned groceries into dinosaurs. Seriously, why don't kids get cool games like this anymore? Not even an app? I'm giving it a 6 just for the funsies. Sure, the barcode scanner was unique and all, but the actual gameplay itself was pretty horrible. It played like you were literally just yelling at 2 dinosaurs to kill each other, and it was just about as responsive as well. 2, utter jank. So I have a confession to make. I never actually played this game. Wait, what? Why is it even on this list? Well, because I got it for free on the Epic Game Store, but couldn't really bring myself to play it. Why not? I hear it's pretty good. It's a game by EA, owned by Disney, and distributed by Epic, the Fortnite factory. That's like one Musketeer short of the reuniting of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Crap, I didn't play it either for the same reason. What are we gonna do? You think people even made it this far in a video about licensed games? I say we just fake it. I got a D10 right here. Help me, RNG. You're my only hope. 4. Who's more foolish, the fool or the one who follows him? 6. Hold up, aren't all the backyard sports games licensed too? Come on, give it up! Same for Witcher. Wait, what about Kingdom Hearts? No, we're done! Goodbye! So what kind of janked up licensed piss balloons have you played? Come on, spill it. I want to hear all about your embarrassing secrets in the comments this time. Blah, but if you're still gonna try and convince me that a game is bad just because it's licensed, you got a good point there. No. You're just playing with yourself. But you got a really good point there. I mean, sorry, the background's a little messed up this time. I'm kind of in the middle of putting in some new perlers up back there, so hopefully you can see some of my new Shin Megami Tensei ones that I've got. This is one of those episodes where I'm doing reviews based on what you guys recommend, and Arrow actually asked me to do some sort of licensed game. Didn't ask what in particular, so I decided I was gonna do all of them. I guess because I never get the chance to review 50 games in one video ever again. But either way, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe for more, and use the links in the description to nominate your own episode. And thank you to all of our Patreon members, Aspen, Arrow, Sid, and Genio. Booyah! Shouldn't make that sound. I think I ruined Kim's hat.